Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the regular meeting of the St. Joseph County Council for Tuesday, July 28th, 2026. I call this meeting to order. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. We gather tonight as stewards of this county, from its roads and rivers to its neighborhoods and the people who call them home. May we carry into this room the humility to listen to one another, even when we see things differently. Let this council stand as the proverbial council oak has always stood, rooted deeply in the principles entrusted to us, steady regardless of what moves around it, and strong enough to shelter honest disagreement without being uprooted by it. Grant us clear judgment tonight and the discipline to hold what is true when the moment asks otherwise. May tonight's work reflect not the temperature of the moment, but the lasting good of the people we serve. We ask this in the spirit of service and in your name with respect to all who join us here tonight. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Someday.
Thank you. We move on to petitions, communications, and miscellaneous matters, which includes the approval of our June 23rd minutes. Is there a motion on our minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. All right. Is there any other miscellaneous matters?
Yes, there is. President Tanner, so I've received feedback from the community, and I've tried to put together a resolution to help address some of this feedback. It was kind of put together at the 11th hour, but is a resolution of the St. Joe County Council seeking a one-year special solar moratorium for St. Joe County. And this would be to help address some of the concerns that have been brought forth in this council, in the commissioner meetings, in the area plan meetings, and also in the redevelopment commission meetings. So
I believe that was a motion, correct?
motion to amend the agenda, yes.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to amend the agenda with the resolution as described by Councilman Rutten. As a reminder to all those present, a motion to amend an agenda must be accompanied by a unanimous vote for the agenda to be amended. Clerk, will you please poll the council on that motion and second to amend the agenda? Actually, before you do, is there any council comment before we vote? Mr. Catanzarite.
Mr. President, we had the privilege of being in caucus here shortly, or a few minutes ago, and had a brief time. This came to us today at 12:15, I think, an email. Didn't really get a chance to study it that well, but I'm not pushing any buttons.
The mic's dead.
The mic's dead, I think.
Here, let's try.
All right. I apologize, Mr. President. Having gotten this today in email shortly before noon, hadn't really had a chance to fully study this in its entirety, and having heard what was discussed in our caucus prior to coming out here tonight, there needs to be a lot of cleanup of this ordinance before it's formally introduced. So me voting against this tonight is purely in the sense that I think it needs to be cleaned up and worked on before we bring it on the agenda tonight and give the public a chance to actually study it and learn it before it's voted on or considered. So I will be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments before we take a poll? All right. Clerk, will you please poll the council?
Mr. Rutten?
Yes.
Ms. Hess?
No.
No. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Catanzarite?
No.
Mr. Schetzel's absent. Mr. Fig?
Yes.
Mrs. Shabazz?
No.
Mrs. Drake?
Yes.
Yes. And President Tanner?
No.
No.
Let the record show that the motion failed with a vote of 4-4. The agenda is not amended. Moving on to County Council Board appointments, we have an appointment to the Animal Control Commission. Dr. Kathy Harris has served in this role for several years and has been a dedicated member of the commission. Is there a motion to reappoint Dr. Harris?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right, we will welcome Dr. Kathy Harris to another term on the Animal Control Commission. Thank you. A report from the county auditor.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. A report from county commissioners. I don't believe I see any present tonight or online. Report from council special committee. We have no current special committees, so we'll move on to first readings. Clerk, will you please read the first reading bills?
Bill number 51-26, an ordinance to vacate a public way or public place located wholly within the unincorporated portion of St. Joseph County, public way or public place. Petitioner Stephen Freilich.
Bill number 51-26 will be assigned to the Land Use Planning Committee.
Bill number 52-26, an ordinance amending and supplementing Title 15 Land Usage, Chapter 154 Planning and Zoning of the St. Joseph County Code as amended for property located at 50755 Portage Road from R Single Family District to C Commercial District. Petitioner Crown Investments LLC.
Bill number 52-26 will be assigned to the Land Use Planning Committee.
Bill number 53-26, an ordinance amending and supplementing Title 15 Land Usage, Chapter 154 Planning and Zoning of the St. Joseph County Code as amended for property located at unaddressed .35 plus or minus acre parcel abutting 10676 Toledo Avenue to the east and to the east and unaddressed .21 target acre parcel abutting 10620 Toledo Avenue to the west from R Single Family District to C Commercial District. Petitioner BHN Investments LLC.
Bill number 53-26 will also be assigned to the Land Use Planning Committee. Moving on to salary amendments. Clerk, will you please read the bill?
Bill number 47-26, an ordinance amending ordinance 58-25, the same being an ordinance establishing salaries and fixing the number of employees of St. Joseph County for the year 2026. Petitioner IT.
Thank you. Can I have the committee report, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. 47-26 and 46-26A, they're combined, came with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Petitioner Richard, IT.
Good evening, council members. Richard Warfield, IT Director, Office at 125 South Lafayette Boulevard, 3rd floor. Any questions? This is just to kind of reorganize our organizational structure and fix salaries for those that we're moving to different positions.
Mr. Warfield, correct me if I'm wrong. I recall from the committee meeting that this is a net budget reduction. Is that correct?
It's
Or
a
neutral?
net zero.
Net zero.
We have money already in our salary, so we're just moving monies around to accommodate for the new positions or different positions that we're doing.
And that was largely due to retirement and
Correct.
restructuring?
Correct.
All right. Any other questions for the petitioner? All right, seeing none. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
We will now open the public hearing on bill number 47-26. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Seeing none. Is there anyone online who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Also seeing none. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? None. Anyone online who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Also seeing none. We'll now close the public hearing on Bill number 47-26. Any further comments from council? Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Hess and a second by Councilman Thomas. Clerk, will you please poll the council?
Ms. Hess,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Catanzarite,
Yes.
Mr. Fig,
Yes.
Mrs. Shabazz,
Yes.
Mrs. Drake,
Yes.
Mr. Rutten,
Yes.
President Tanner.
Yes.
Passes 8-0.
Let the record show that Bill number 47-26 passes with a vote of 8-0. Now on to Bill number 48-26. Clerk, will you please read the bill?
An ordinance amending ordinance 58-25, the same being an ordinance establishing salaries and fixing the number of employees of St. Joseph County for the year 2026. Petitioner, prosecutor.
And the committee report, please.
Mr. President, Bill number 4826 comes to the full council without recommendation.
Thank you. Petitioner.
Ken Cotter, prosecutor, St. Joseph County, 10th floor, County City Building. This request is kind of convoluted in some ways not. It's convoluted in the sense that I'm not asking for any new monies from the budget. The monies that I'm asking for is from our forfeiture fund that a prosecutor's office has. It is hit and miss when money comes in there. I actually don't have any impact on whether monies get put in or not. It's when law enforcement forfeits certain properties or certain monies from people who are committing crimes. We actually have an outside attorney who does that so that there's not any concern that I'm trying to pad my budget, for lack of a better phrase. Sometimes we get funds and sometimes we don't. There's currently $146,000 in that budget, or in that account. I'm asking for, frankly, raises for two of our employees. One is the director of our finance, and the other is the assistant director. The director of our finance oversees roughly $11 million. Now, that's about $5 million from the county, and then about $5 million from grants that director oversees and has gotten from various agencies, as well as about $1 million from other sources like My Pay, for example. The county doesn't pay My Pay, that's state. We've got a couple of other deputy prosecutors that also get paid. Overall, Bob Reisenhofer, oversees that. He's been with the county for 17 and a half years. He is a CPA. I believe there's only one other CPA. John, is that right? You're a CPA, right?
I passed the CP, I think.
Is Abby also a CPA? I only know of two. Well, if there's three, great. But he is a CPA to ensure that our finances are in good order for that amount of money for this county, to ensure that it's properly done. And he oversees and he works with roughly 150 people that the county employs in the prosecutor's office. His pay is at roughly $80,000. For a CPA, that is not very much. I know that John and Abby actually, and they should, make more than that. John's retiring at the end of this year. I wanted to, and I should have, frankly, do this last year. I didn't think it through that he was retiring this year. I'm going to be asking for a raise for that position next year, but it doesn't do Bob very much good. Like I said, he's retiring this year. I'm not asking for county money. I'm asking for the forfeiture money to be able to supplement his pay an additional $20,000. I know that's a hefty amount, but I also know that it's not impacting any county resident here because it's not coming out of any taxes. For that reason, I'm asking for that $20,000 for Bob. There's a concern, and it's a right concern, that what about for next year? I'll be asking for that for next year's budget, but I think that's a different discussion. This is a discussion for a one-time $20,000 raise for that position. The second part is for the assistant director. That currently pays $59,000 and change. For someone who assists in all of those duties that I described for Bob, that's woeful, to say the least. It is very hard to attract someone in that position. And I know that because I just stole John Butler from the auditor's office. I can tell you the only reason that he said yes was, and he's very good, the only reason he said yes is because he saw the handwriting on the wall and saw that Bob was retiring and hoped that he would be able to show me he's the person that should take Bob's position. Other than that, the folks who had applied were not equipped to be able to do the work that needs to be done as the assistant director. By the way, I am going to replace, when Bob finally retires, I'm going to ask John to take that position. So it worked for John. I am less hopeful that we can get someone quality to be able to do that job at $59,000. And so for those reasons, I'm asking for his pay also to come out of our forfeiture fund in the amount that is described. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Does the council have any questions for the prosecutor?
One
Mr.
question. Ken, I think I agree with, just everything you're saying. But, I do have a question. And maybe you already answered this, so I apologize if I'm making you restate yourself. But
Sure.
why wasn't this brought up 1 year ago to be included in the 2026 budget
Yep.
that we're currently in?
Because I spaced. I admit I made a mistake and didn't think that through, that, oh my gosh, Bob's leaving this year. And I should have. I frankly didn't do a comparison on what other places would pay. And when Joyce retired this year, and the applicants that we received made me kind of do a gulp and go, that's not enough to be able to get quality folks. And given the amount of money that they are overseeing for you and for all the residents of the community, that was a concern for me. Now, truthfully, for this year, Bob's not going to quit. John's not going to quit. But given that Bob is retiring this year, he won't see a dime of that. He's done it quietly, never complained. Frankly, whenever I have meetings with them on presenting and getting ready for the budget cycle, we talk about who warrants different pay increases and requests. He's not one time said, hey, what about me? And it wasn't until Joyce's retirement that it kind of hit me in the face, and that's on me for not asking before.
It's a very fair answer, thank you. So would it help in regard to, Bob retiring, would it help if I threw myself on the ground at his feet and tried to keep him from walking out the door? Would that help?
It's not so much Bob you have to talk to, he's 84, and I think his wife would kill me if I said, yes, that's a great idea.
Okay, maybe I won't do that then. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from council members? No? All right, well, we'll open it up to public hearing on bill number 48-26. Thank you, Mr. Cotter. Anyone in the room who would like to speak in favor of this bill, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, anyone online who would like to speak in favor of this bill, please state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, anyone in the room who would like to speak in opposition to this bill, please come forward. Seeing none, anyone online who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Seeing none, we'll now close the public hearing on bill number 48-26. Any additional comment from council? Mr. Catanzarite?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Prosecutor Cotter, great presentation, great justification. Glad that it's not coming from taxpayer-generated funds, that it's coming from your whichever fund that was, the forfeiture fund. However, being in the midst of budget talks, we've been talking to department heads, fiscal officers all across the county, and there's no fiscal officer other than the county auditor who makes a salary of what you're requesting. I think there's a concern among the council about setting the bar that high in terms of those dollar amounts. The two individuals you're speaking of that hold those positions are phenomenal county employees, without a doubt. Certainly believe they're deserving of the salaries they command and get at this time. I'm just not so sure the timing of this is good, given the effects of SEA 1, given what we've asked a lot of county employees to do, even though you're funding this yourself through forfeiture funds. I'm just not so certain that I can support it at this time, to the extent of what you're asking for. And I don't want to get into a big debate up here tonight, but we've polled every fiscal officer and looked at every salary among all the fiscal officers in the county, and there's nobody that's making that kind of money, not necessarily in charge of the same dollar amount, but maybe even more full-time equivalents. So I would have a hard time supporting it right now at this time, at this level. Again, and nothing against those employees. I know them both. They're both phenomenal county employees, and I'm sure whoever replaces them will be phenomenal, and hopefully you can recruit somebody if and when that day comes at the current salary level, but I'm just not going to be able to support it this time.
Mr. Thomas, did I see your hand?
No.
No, okay.
Thank you.
Any other council comment? Just in general, I'll echo what Mr. Catanzarite said. It's not the person, it's the position. Yes, the position demands being responsible for over $11 million a year between grant funds, taxpayer funds, state funds, but making the comparison to the auditor's office, which is responsible for over $200 million in funds and much greater level of scrutiny and collaboration between all the departments, I don't think is an appropriate comparison. It's not a slight against the individuals. And also to identify somebody being qualified because they're a CPA, but the next person who's going to take over the role is not a CPA, is also, I think, a somewhat loaded approach to justifying the pay increases, particularly when we're in the midst of our budget process. Beyond that, I'll echo what Mr. Catanzarite said, and if there are no other comments from the council, then I will entertain a motion.
Well, motion to approve except for F?
We're not doing the letters.
We're not doing the, what
This
are
is
we doing?
only, this is only the bill for the salary amendment. If, depending on how this goes, if it fails, then later on fiscal matters, we would have to remove F.
So you just want to,
Okay,
just the bill.
I withdraw that.
This is an up or down vote.
I withdraw that.
I'll make a motion to deny bill number 48-26. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Tanner, seconded by Councilman Thomas to deny bill number 48-26. Clerk, will you please poll the council?
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Catanzarite?
Yes.
Mr. Fig?
Yes.
Mrs. Shabazz?
Yes.
Mrs. Drake?
Yes.
That was a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Rutten?
Yes.
Ms. Hess?
No.
No. President Tanner?
Yes.
Passes 7-1, the denial.
Let the record show that bill number 48-26 fails with a denial vote of 7-1. Now moving on to bill number 49-26. Clerk, will you please read the bill?
An ordinance amending ordinance 58-25, the same being an ordinance establishing salaries and fixing the numbers of employees of St. Joseph County for the year 2026. Petitioner, prosecutor.
And the committee report, please.
Oh, Mr. President, bill number 4926 comes to the full council without recommendation.
Thank you. Petitioner, Prosecutor Cotter.
Ken Cotter, Prosecutor, 10th Floor County City Building. This is a request to increase the pay for this year, and this year only, for 3 individuals. One is the administrator, one is denominated a paralegal, and I'll explain what that means in a second, and the third is for a secretary. It's a $3,000 increase for each of them. All of that money would come out of our pretrial diversion fund, which currently has $195,000 in it. It is a request for no additional county funds. The $3,000 for the administrator is because, if you recall, when we first formed this position like 3 years ago, it was a combination of 2 positions, the executive assistant for the prosecutor, as well as the person who oversees all of the staff within the prosecutor's office. So frankly, when I came to you, it was, folks, we can do it one of 2 ways. We can combine 2 jobs into one, and I think she's able to do that, or we can have 2 separate positions, and it was frankly cheaper for the county to go 1 position. And my current administrator is doing the job and doing a great job. She's also working 60 hours a week, because it's a lot. It's 2 positions. She likes the job, but it's a lot. And so she hasn't asked for it, but I thought an additional $3,000 that doesn't come out of the budget, doesn't come out of county folks, nobody else is paying for it. It's out of pretrial diversion funds. The second one is, it's denominated as a paralegal position. That paralegal is in charge of the paralegal for the domestic violence cases over at our Special Victims Unit, which is not located here, but located across the street on the river, co-located with the Casey Center and the Family Justice Center. Her job duties also include the overseeing the staff for the folks who are there. Last year, we ran out of space on the 10th floor for all of our secretaries. So we moved the secretaries, because we had that additional space over there, to the Special Victims Unit. When I moved them, didn't have a supervisor for them that also accompanied them. That has required, first she did it on her own, and then I formalized it, asking her to supervise those additional 9 folks. And that's on top of the other duties that she'd always been doing. She's doing it without complaint. She's working extra hours because of that, and so I was asking, not county money, but pretrial diversion money, an additional $3,000. And then lastly, it's a secretary position. That secretary is assigned to the JJC. She actually, her job, we don't have a paralegal, we don't have a victim advocate that assists with the Juvenile Justice Center and the victims that are over there. That secretary has de facto become both the secretary, the paralegal, and the victim advocate for those cases there. I wouldn't have asked for more money just for that, because unfortunately things like that happen. But last year, the legislature requires that the prosecutor's office, after 10 unexcused absences, sends letters to all of those parents, coordinates with all of those schools, and gets a better handle on truancy in St. Joseph County. That secretary is the person who is doing it. That's additional duties that no one could have foreseen, that she has taken on and doing a great job with that. But again, she's now working extra because of that. An additional $3,000 out of pretrial diversion funds, not out of the budget, I believe is appropriate. And so I'm asking for those raises based on this year and this year only. We can talk about whether it should be systemic, but that's a minimal amount for a pretty darn good amount of work that they're doing. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Prosecutor Cotter from the council? I have a couple quick questions, I think.
Sure.
They should be quick. The pretrial diversion fund, $195,000 to most people, even including myself, that seems healthy, but what other positions or costs utilize those funds within the
Right.
department?
There's some other supplement pay from other positions that I haven't asked the county to pay. There is the Special Victims Unit, the paying for the database. I want to say it's like 40,000 a year out of that. I'll call them gizmos, when there's somebody's involved in a fatal crash, and you have to download the computer from cars. Every car literally has a different cable that you have to buy. Those, we pay out of those. I wish, if I'd have known you were going to ask that, I would have brought, here's the rundown of everything, but it's those type of things. It is basically, every year, we end up spending about $195,000 a year.
So if that's roughly what you spend every year, by the time you figure on the pay increases of $3,000 for 3 positions, plus the subsequent FICA, perf, adds up to about 18.5%, a little over that in additional costs. It's around $11,000 a year. I'm not saying that that's going to force this fund to run out of money next year, but the more you dip into this, you know, do you have any fear of this fund running afoot or afoul of having enough cash?
If I continue to do what I'm asking today, yes. But that's why it's pretty rare that we do this. So the answer would be no.
Okay. And then you said that this may be a raise that, if approved today, could be included for next year. Have you included these prospective raises in the budget that you submitted
Yes,
to us?
I did.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure it was already included
Yep.
in that documentation that we've received. I'll just make a quick comment to you. $11,000 or so from a $195,000 fund seems a little bit easier to digest than what is roughly $47,000 a year from a $140,000 fund that eats away at a third of it in just one chunk. So I'm generally in favor of this for the responsibilities that you described, but I just wanted to ask my questions, and you answered them quite well. Thank you.
And I heard the comments on the last issue, and I may be coming back to you, but at a different amount so that it's more palpable.
Thank you.
And it was well taken.
Thanks. Any other questions for Prosecutor Cotter? Mr. Catanzaro.
Prosecutor Cotter, the pretrial diversion funds, are you solely in control of those, or do we have the authority to appropriate from there as we
You
wish?
cannot, no,
Well, we cannot?
no,
Only you have that authority?
that's correct.
Okay. Because with these increases, if they were approved, there would be a corresponding improved, I think, a corresponding improved salary in those same positions in the public defender's office. So if it
The
were,
public defender doesn't have those positions.
they have an administrative assistant and a secretary. They do have that. Same titles, I think.
Different, I have nine
Right.
different secretaries, so
Okay. Their salary levels were the same for, let me see, what yours currently makes. The secretary is the same salary that the public defender's salary pays. So I'm thinking that's a similar position. The administrator makes a little more than the PD administrator. So I'm just thinking and wondering, is that going to require an increase from the public defenders?
I don't think so, because
To
one,
match
that
that.
administrator is, it's not apples and apples. And Jeff and I can argue about it later on, and maybe he would
Oh, Jeff's there.
want to say it would be. But it's, remember, that administrator, my administrator, and frankly, I didn't name that. You guys suggested, let's use that name. She's doing two people's job. It's not the same as what a typical administrator would do. She's the executive assistant for the prosecutor as well as the office administrator. In regards to that paralegal is not, they don't have that, right?
I was thinking about the secretary and
But,
administrator.
and then the secretary, again, that's an additional job description. The state said we had to do this. She's the one who is taking that on. That's pure and simple the biggest reason why I'm asking for that additional. Because otherwise, no secretary would want that position. They'd rather be a secretary, a different secretary within our office because it's less responsibilities.
So I guess I'm trying to discern whether or not we would have to also have a corresponding increase. You're saying no. I don't mean to bring the public, now that you mentioned the chief public defender's here, I wasn't going to bring him into this. I don't know if he would interpret that or if our own legal counsel would interpret that. because position for position, prosecutors and public defenders have to have a level playing field, up to and including salaries of public defender attorneys to prosecutorial attorneys, different that they're part-time compared to the full-time prosecutors. The question I'm wondering is, are we going to have to make a corresponding increase in the public defender's budget if we would give these increases tonight? And yeah. Maybe at some point in the public hearing, I'll call up Jeff and ask him. Yeah. Would you object to that?
I would not object to that.
I don't want to take any more. If anybody has a question for prosecutor.
I think I saw a hand. No? No? Okay.
I have a quick one.
Yes,
I just
Councilman
have a
Fig.
quick one, Mr. Cotter. Pre-trial diversion funds, can you just explain that? I think I know what it is, but just don't take a whole lot of time.
Sure.
Short time.
When an individual is charged with a crime, the state allows certain types of crimes in certain situations to avoid a conviction by, generally, it's going to be go to counseling or do community service. There's a fee that is associated. The court gets a certain amount. The prosecutor's office, because we're the one who administers it, makes sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. We get a smaller amount, but it can add up. And then, yeah, so that's how it's funded. And then at the end of the case, if the person is successful, then generally it's a dismissal. So, yeah.
How much would that be? I probably a crazy question there.
How much on?
Yeah, would like a trial, I mean, pre-trial diversion, you talking $100, $200, $2,000?
No, it's not 2,000, and I truthfully don't remember, because I know that there's a variety of fees that get taken out that are statutory. It's like $10 a month for the prosecutor, and I think the court gets, I don't remember how much the court gets. I know that we get $10 a month to monitor them.
So one last question. How many do you think we've done this year, or like, say, all last year? Do you have-
Not a clue, sorry.
Okay, no problem. I didn't put you on the spot there. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Prosecutor Cotter? If not, we will now close the public hearing on Bill number 49-26. Is-
Mr. President,
Yes.
as a,
Or I guess I just said we'll close the public hearing, but we haven't even opened it yet.
would you object before we open the public hearing if I could call up the chief public defender or the deputy chief?
I don't think that would be inappropriate, given the context of
The question.
the question and the liability of putting our 40% matching funds at risk.
I'd like to see if Jeff or Andrea would be willing to come up to just help answer that question that I posed regarding.
And then once you're to the podium, if you don't mind stating your name and address for the record.
Jeff Kimmel, Chief Public Defender, 218 West Washington Street, Suite 600, South Bend.
Andrea Bichkowski, Assistant Chief Public Defender, 218 Suite 520 West Washington.
Chief Public Defender Kimmel, my question was, are these an apples-to-apples comparison that would require us to match the funding for those positions within your budget if we were to increase the administrator and the secretary pay based on what Prosecutor Cotter is saying? These are different types of positions. He's calling that more of an executive assistant administrator.
Well, I mean, I believe they have the same titles. He's right, we don't have any paralegals, so that wouldn't come into play, but we do have an administrator. More important than what I think on it, we would have to consult with the Public Defender Commission, who controls the 40% reimbursement, and see what they would have to say. We wouldn't know until we talk to them. My expectation is they very well might say that the raise would have to be given to our employees with the same title. I couldn't say until we made that consultation.
Okay. Sorry to put you on the spot. I know you're here for a different reason. I recognize that after you were identified in the audience and I had my glasses off. The fund that you're, like, for example, if the State Public Defender Commission said we would have to fund that, the fund you're going to use, your public defender fee fund, does it have the ability to pay for those raises?
So I'm going to let Andrea ask that, because she
Okay.
spent about 2 hours on the phone today with somebody on that very issue.
Or could they be utilized for that?
Thank you. It would be, that would be a really specific scenario we have to look at. I did spend about 2 hours on the phone with the commission today, looking at this exact topic about apples to apples, oranges to oranges. So we would have to, any sort of raise for any position, they would have to vet at this point to determine whether or not we'd have to do it. And then we would more than likely have to come back before the council and potentially ask for a reallocation of funds, or have to get a special dispensation to move other monies around from downstate.
And if you don't mind, Mr.
No,
Contens, all right?
not at all. Thank you.
If I could add to that also, the supplemental fund money, they notified us that it can't be used to do recurring expenses. It's only to be used for one-time unexpected expenses. So potentially, they may approve it for one time. They would not allow us to use it to supplement ordinary expenses that they deem should be borne by the county.
Thank you.
Thanks. And I think just for the clarity for anybody who's joining us in the room or online, what we're referring to, and if you don't mind correcting my language, is there's a 40% reimbursement that we receive from the state for having a robust, productive, compliant public defender department. Is that correct?
That's correct, as long as we maintain compliance with caseload standards and education standards, then the state does reimburse the county a full 40% of all expenditures. But one thing they do require, in addition to caseload compliance, is salary parity with the prosecutor's office.
And if we're found to be non-compliant with that, then we risk losing that 40% reimbursement from the state, which comes at what kind of a frequency through the year?
It's every quarter. We receive about, now it's roughly $250,000, a little higher, actually, every quarter. So that comes back. And so it would be an extraordinarily drastic measure if they just withheld all the funds, but they might look at partial withholding of some reimbursements on something like that, I would expect. But
Thank you. While they're up here, were there any other questions for Ms. Bichowski or Mr. Kimmel? All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know it's a departure from our normal procedure. That's such a unique relationship between the two departments that I just want to make sure we weren't actually looking at more like $22,000 increase versus $11,000.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will open the public hearing on Bill number 49-26. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Seeing none, is there anyone online who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Also seeing none, is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in opposition of this bill? Seeing none, is there anyone online who would like to speak in opposition of this bill? Seeing none. Any additional council, or we'll now close the hearing on Bill number 4926. Is there any additional council comment? Otherwise, we would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve 4926, Mr. President.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Bill number 49-26. Any additional council comment? Mr. Contens, all right.
I would just say this is a much more modest request than the previous one, in my opinion. And the fact that it's coming from pretrial diversion funds, which are not taxpayer-funded funds, I can support this. Thank you.
Mr. Thomas.
You know, these requests are not, of course, about the people, what Mr. Catanzaro said earlier, and so did Mr. Tanner, not at all. Very difficult budget times SEA 1 has put on us, and we said no to the last one, and I just can't, I know it's coming from pretrial, and I just can't vote for this because of so many different reasons with our budget, and it just seems like the domino would never end. And nothing against your qualified people that you have in there, Mr. Cotter, at all, but I can't vote for this. Thank you.
I'll just make one additional comment. If this motion, well, I take that back. This is a motion to pass as presented, correct?
Correct.
Then the only thing that I've got to say would only matter if it was a tie, so we'll hold it off till then. All right. We have a motion from Mr. Catanzarite to approve, seconded by Councilwoman Shabazz. Clerk, will you please poll the council?
Mr. Catanzarite?
Yes.
Mr. Fig?
No.
Mrs. Shabazz?
Yes.
Mrs. Drake?
No.
Mr. Rutten?
No.
No. Ms. Hess?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Thomas?
No.
And Mr. President Tanner?
Yes.
Yes.
Which I believe puts us at 4-4
Yes,
draw.
4-4, yeah.
Which means that that motion fails, but that doesn't mean we are done with our activities because there are other motions that could be made. I will actually make a motion that this be returned to committee until we get clarification from the Public Defender's Office and the state on whether the funds would have to be matched for their equivalent positions.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Tanner, seconded by Councilwoman Hess to return this bill to committee. Any further council discussion? Mr. Thomas.
So explain to me the reasoning to the committee again. You want to see if there's matching funds? Is that what you're?
My consideration is that perhaps we're not just considering the $11,000 or so that this request is for, but it has a triggering effect that we are considering additional funds from another department. And before I'm ready to vote on this, and perhaps through another committee, a round of committee, and ultimately council public hearing, we'll have more clarity on what the actual fiscal impacts are.
King Clint, I know you're researching that, right? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other council discussion on the motion? Okay. So there's a motion and a second on the floor to return Bill number 49-26 to committee. Clerk, will you please poll the council?
Mr. Fig?
Yes.
Mrs. Shabazz?
Yes.
Mrs. Drake?
No.
Mr. Rutten?
No.
Ms. Hess?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Catanzarite?
Yes.
President Tanner?
Yes.
Passes 6-3,
6-2.
6-2.
Let the record show that Bill number 49-26 is returned to committee with a vote of 6-2. Thank you. Moving on to Bill number 50-26. Clerk, will you please read the bill?
An ordinance amending ordinance 58-25, the same being an ordinance establishing salaries and fixing the numbers of employees of St. Joseph County for the year 2026, petitioner probate court.
And may I have the committee report, please?
Yes, Bill number 5826 comes to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Petitioner.
Good evening, Kristen Samansky, Controller for the St. Joseph Probate Court located at 1000 South Michigan Street, South Bend. I am here this evening to request the appropriation of the grant funds listed on Form D in regards to the salaries. Those will be used for a home detention case manager, 2 probation officers, and then a portion of the controller's salary for fiscal year 26-27. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Szymanski? Seeing none, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
We will now open public hearing on Bill number 50-26. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Seeing none, is there anyone online who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Seeing none, is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Seeing none, is there anyone online who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Also seeing none, we will now close the public hearing on Bill number 50-26. Are there any further comments from the council? Otherwise, we'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Councilman Fig, seconded by Councilwoman Hess. Clerk, will you please poll the council?
Mrs. Shabazz?
Yes.
Mrs. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Rutten?
Yes.
Ms. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Catanzarite?
Yes.
Mr. Fig?
Yes.
President Tanner?
Yes.
Passes 8-0.
Let the record show that Bill number 50-26 passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you. Now moving on to public hearing, public comments on fiscal matters. Bill number 46-26. Clerk, will you please read the bill?
An ordinance appropriating and transferring monies for the purpose herein specified for the several departments herein listed of St. Joseph County government.
Thank
Mr.
you.
President,
Yes.
could we
Mr.
amend
Kitzer.
this 4626 to withhold item F and item G?
We can. Is that a formal motion?
Yes. I would like to amend 4626 to eliminate items F as in Frank and G as in George.
There's a motion on the floor to amend to remove items F and G from fiscal matters. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. And clerk, will you please poll the council?
Mrs. Drake?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Rutten?
Yes.
Ms. Hess?
Yes.
What'd you say?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Catanzarite?
Yes.
Mr. Fig?
Yes.
Mrs. Shabazz?
Yes.
President Tanner?
Yes.
Passes 8-0.
Let the record show that the motion to amend to remove items F and G, and for the audience's understanding, those were the two items that were either voted down or returned to committee for the prosecutor's office. So we will not be appropriating those funds tonight within Bill number 46-26. Beyond that, all fiscal matters were presented and heard during the council's July 14th, I believe, committee meeting, so we will move straight to the public hearing. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in favor of this bill as amended? Seeing none, is there anyone online who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Seeing none, is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Seeing none, is there anyone online who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Also seeing none. So we will close the public hearing on Bill number 46-26. Is there any additional council comment? Otherwise, we'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve as amended.
Second.
We have a motion to approve as amended by Councilwoman Hess, seconded by Councilwoman Shabazz. Clerk, will you please poll the council?
Mr. Rutten?
Yes.
Ms. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Catanzarite?
Yes.
Mr. Fig?
Yes.
Mrs. Shabazz?
Yes.
Mrs. Drake?
Yes.
President Tanner?
Yes.
Passes 8-0.
Let the record show that Bill number 46-26 passes with a vote of 8-0. That completes fiscal matters and brings us to land use planning. Clerk, will you please read the bill?
Bill number 43-26, an ordinance to vacate a public way or public place located wholly within the unincorporated portion of St. Joseph County, public way or public place. Petitioner Amazon Data Services.
And the committee report, please.
Mr. President, this bill comes to the full council without a recommendation.
Thank you. Petitioner, or actually staff.
Yes. This is Sean Klein, Area Plan Commission Director with offices on the 11th floor of this building. So this is a petition to vacate an unimproved street right-of-way, Huckleberry Road, between State Road 2 and Gordon Road at the south. It's abutted by the Amazon development on the south side of State Road 2 to the east and the Navistar property to the west. The Navistar property does not actually have access to the road currently, and it would be fairly impractical to try to access it, given that the Rogers Clark ditch runs parallel to the unimproved right-of-way between the facility and this road.
I think it's 3 beans.
I'll let the petitioner speak a little more to this, but this does show the proposed new access once the State Road 2 and Strawberry improvements are in place. It will be accessed by a public frontage road, which they'll get on at that intersection, and that will then run westward into the site parallel to State Road 2, and that'll go back towards where the existing Huckleberry Road right-of-way currently exists. And then Huckleberry Road would no longer have direct access to State Road 2. So the proposal is for this to become the access to the public for the Amazon site, and then the Huckleberry Road will be vacated and then be privatized from there. As a result of this vacation, no properties would lose any direct access to the existing county street network, as again, it really only provides access to Gordon Road. Gordon Road can be accessed via Strawberry, and both abutting properties are developed industrial sites that do not need this to be public access in the future. These are some photos to illustrate the state of Huckleberry Road prior to the Amazon development. Honestly, the condition is even worse than I had thought now that I'm seeing these. Again, it was not really an improved right-of-way. I do have a statement from Sky Metters, county engineer. He states that Public Works supports the petition to vacate the portion of Huckleberry Road between State Road 2 and Gordon Road. This portion of Huckleberry Road is an unimproved right-of-way that doesn't provide any meaningful benefit to the county's transportation network. These are the types of situations in which road vacations are generally appropriate. In addition, the proposed vacation will not impact the county's ability to maintain the Rogers Clark legal drain. The existing drainage easement provides the necessary access for inspection, maintenance, and future work associated with the legal drain. Based on these considerations, Public Works recommends approval of the petition to vacate Huckleberry Road. Beyond that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and the petitioner is also present.
Are there any questions for Mr. Klein? Mr. Thomas?
So, Sean, what was the impetus for this to get vacated? Was this from Sky on the Line? Was this from Sky Metters, or was this from Amazon?
I believe he was on the line. We can check if he...
I'm here.
There he is.
Sky, I know we talked a little bit about this. Can you elaborate a little bit more on it? I know, Sean, you did a good job, but just to make a little more clarity, that looking at the pictures of the road, it looks obviously, if you want to even call it a road, it's pretty rough.
And Mr. Metters, if you don't mind identifying yourself with the name and address for the record.
Sure. Sky Metters, Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth. Office is on the 7th, 11th floor of the County City Building. Early in the planning process, it was more or less something that I, as county engineer, brought up to the team. The road itself, it may have been used by the farmer at that time, but I mean, there's been no other use of it other than it's been county right-of-way and not on the tax rolls. And I talked to the John Law, who is with the county drainage board, and he also indicated that they did not need that right-of-way as part of to be able to maintain the ditch. It was one of the things that we were coming up with. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense to keep that as right-of-way when it was right next to the ditch and bordered on the west by International and then on the east by Amazon, and not really going anywhere. I really think this is to the county's benefit, and I would have recommended it whether it be Amazon or Bill's Pickleball Shack. I would have recommended it.
How long, I know it goes down to Gordon Road, how long is that? From 2 to Gordon?
It's a mile, right?
Is it?
Scott?
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
mile?
Yeah.
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 Goes back, that goes back on the tax rolls? When you, yeah, it goes back on, I mean.
Yeah, it
when you
would be,
vacate,
it
that
would
goes
be
back on their
added to the-
tax.
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
Whereas right now, it's not. Sorry, I
Right.
didn't mean to interrupt.
Any other ditches or anything? It's a straight shot down to Gordon from 2. Anything else that's an issue down there?
Not that I recall. Anything that might have been a small side ditch or anything has been taken care of by the stormwater controls on the Amazon site.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Mr. Klein or, as it stands, Mr. Metters? If not, then we'll hear from the.
Brian,
Oh,
can I
sorry,
ask,
Mr. Redmond.
Scott a question? Actually, this might be a better question for you, Sean. So this is, they are proposing a private road to replace Huckleberry. And it might be, off, just slightly off to the side of where Huckleberry, the right-of-way currently is, so, about the same. Are private roads, are they generally publicly accessible? Can property owners put a gate on a private road? Do they have the right to do that?
They absolutely do. It's private property at that point. It functions more like a drive or a driveway, I would say.
Yeah.
Especially given that, the public frontage road is going to provide the access to the area of the Amazon facility that can be accessed by the public at the entrance gates. So whatever this privatized Huckleberry Road would be used for would just be maybe internalized circulation for employees and the like.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? If not, we'll hear from the petitioner. And if you don't mind stating your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Tess Sobel with Kimley Horn, address 4201 Winfield Road, Suite 600, Warrenville, Illinois, 60555. Our petition for the vacation of Huckleberry Road between SR2 and Gordon Road is out of request by St. Joseph County Engineering Department, making this section of Huckleberry Road a private access road for the development has been discussed with the county engineer's office and the International Motors property to the west since the beginning of this development's design in 2024. The main intent of vacating this right-of-way is to make the responsibility of maintenance for privatized Huckleberry Road the property owner's responsibility rather than the county's. In the long term, AWS personnel will be the primary traveler of Huckleberry Road, so maintaining the public right-of-way would only cause unneeded maintenance and cost on the county. Hence the request by St. Joseph County Engineering to vacate this right-of-way. International Motors does not have any existing access to their property off the Huckleberry Road right-of-way. Privatizing Huckleberry Road will not affect access to the International Motors property. To the south of Gordon Road, there are fields and one property that formerly had a residential dwelling. However, this property is now unoccupied and under ownership of AWS. The farm along Gordon Road will still be accessible via Strawberry Road and Gordon Road, which will remain public right-of-ways. Privatized Huckleberry Road will service only the development and connect to the proposed public frontage road and Gordon Road. The proposed public frontage road is a county-led project on the northern border of the property and has been coordinated between the property owner, International Motors, and the county since before the development of the IEC-3 campus. The development will have secure access points off the proposed frontage road and privatized Huckleberry Road, as shown by the star symbols on this exhibit. And I'll go back a slide to show that, or you can. Thank you. Thanks. Privatized Huckleberry Road will also include a cul-de-sac for emergency vehicles near its Gordon Road connection, as shown by the triangle symbol in the southwest corner of the site. Similarly, as part of the ongoing platting process, AWS is voluntarily dedicating additional right-of-way to allow space for the cul-de-sac to be installed at the end of Gordon Road, allowing travelers to safely turn around and return to Strawberry Road. If you could go to the next slide. Thank you. Once construction is complete, a gate shown as the blue line here will be installed at the current Huckleberry Road driveway off of State Route 2 to deter commuter vehicles from bypassing the interchange. This gate will only be accessible to AWS personnel and emergency services once construction is complete. However, privatized Huckleberry Road can be accessed by the public once construction is complete, as depicted in this slide. There should be little reason for commuter traffic to utilize Huckleberry Road, but in the rare instance a stray car should be driving back in this area, they can get back to public right-of-way by using Huckleberry to get to Gordon and Strawberry Road. You can go to the last slide. We have also included these pictures to show the Huckleberry Road right-of-way in its pre-development condition for added context. As you can see from the photos, you could not drive on Huckleberry with a typical commuter vehicle. No one was traversing this road outside the former property owner. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the petitioner? Mr. Thomas?
So are you going to start, if this is voted to vacate, are you going to start right away to put that private road in?
It would depend on the construction schedule of when that road, that final asphalt road would be installed. So they would have to speak to that when it would be installed.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the petitioner? I just have, I think, a brief one. It's interesting to me that we're vacating right-of-way that was public, but was privately accessed only before. And now, slightly offset from that, we're going to have a private road that technically has public access and is improved to such a degree that people can actually access it if the need arose, perhaps for an emergency purpose or some other reasons like that. In general, roadways are physical assets, but on the ledger, they're financial liabilities. So I appreciate the fact that we are going to expand the site in a tangible way. This is some acreage that's being added to the private development with improvements added to it as well. It'll actually go onto the balance sheet as a financial asset for the county from a tax-based perspective rather than a liability from a maintenance perspective for something that's never been publicly accessible, publicly used in the past anyway. That's just a general comment from me, but if I misstated anything from your perspective, I'd leave it open to you.
No, that covers it, yeah.
Okay, great. Mr. Rutten?
So I have a question for you, President Tanner. You mentioned a private access to a public road previously. Can you elaborate on that? I don't understand.
It was a public right-of-way all these years that was only utilized for private access of the previous property owner for farming purposes.
But I mean, it's still a public road, so in past years, you could turn off of State Road 2 to get onto this road, and you could go down to Gordon, and you could basically just drive around the block, or whatever
I understand that
anybody
it had a
could do.
name of Huckleberry Road, but a named platted roadway is not the same as an actual usable roadway.
Yeah.
This was a dirt path at best.
I mean, yeah, and, you know, farm trucks could drive down there. So to me, it's a road, it's just not the road that we're used to. I mean, is that fair?
It's a platted right-of-way. I'll agree to that much.
Paper trail, paper road. Okay, thank you.
Sure, thanks. Anybody else? Otherwise, we will open the public hearing. All right, thank you both. We will open the public hearing on bill number 43-26. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Please state your name and address for the record, sir.
Good evening, Council. Dan Caruso, 305 Compton Street. As most of you know, I've gone up and down Huckleberry Road with some of you in my vehicle, with reporters from around the world. Those 4 pictures are not accurate. That road is paved. The gate across the property at Gordon and Huckleberry on the south end, going north, you can stand there and look at the blacktop all the way up almost to state till you hit the hump in the road up in the middle of the construction. That road is paved. Those are old pictures. This is misleading. I'm sorry. I don't have any problem with giving away, because I've spoken to several of the farmers who have indicated what was just said, that it was for the farmers to get to parts of their properties without having to go on to State Road 2, go around the block and come in from the other direction. It was shortcuts for them to get to their crops. But those pictures were not accurate. I'm sorry. And those of you who have been on the tour with me over there know those pictures aren't accurate. Thank you.
Mr. Caruso, if you don't mind, it's your time to speak, but are you in favor?
I don't know why we're being deceptive about this. Those are not accurate pictures. I'll guarantee you. You can pull up to the gate that now blocks Huckleberry Road at Gordon and look to the north and look at Blacktop, a paved road as far as you can see. Again, that is not accurate. I'm not sure when those pictures were taken, but they're not accurate.
Again, I don't want to eat into your time, but it says pre-development. And I think those were the words that were used by the petitioners, that it was
But they're talking
pre-development.
like that's the way they are now, and they're not. That road is
And I think
paved.
that's a fair criticism. I think that's a fair criticism.
But I'm not against what you're doing here. It's just be honest about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll get back to Sky in a moment. We'll try to maintain decorum, including my own self. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to speak in favor? Seeing none, anyone online who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Seeing none, anyone in the room who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Seeing none, anyone online who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Also seeing none. We will now close the public hearing on bill number 43-26. I'll kick things off. I saw Mr. Metter's hand was raised. Sir, was there some additional context that you would like to add?
Yeah, Sky Metters again, Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth. I don't think anyone was trying to mislead anyone with these pictures. That Mr. Caruso is right. If you go out there now, that area is paved. But that didn't happen until several of the buildings were up, and Amazon at that time asked permission from the county to go in and pave that at their own expense, knowing that if it was not vacated, they would have to remove that pavement. It was something that helped them from a construction standpoint, and it was something that the road was not being used by the county, or if people wanted to use it, like Mr. Caruso carrying around news people, it would have been paved and not tore up his truck as much as the pre-existing, the pre-development. So I don't think anyone was trying to mislead anyone. It's just that, I mean, that is the pre-developed condition. Thank you.
Thank you. And the petitioner, did you want to use a few minutes to rebut, if you so desire?
No, thank you, Sky, for saying that. That we agree with what Sky has said, and it was at our own expense for paving that. So,
Thank you. Well, with the public hearing closed and that taken care of, are there any other comments from council members? Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion.
President Tanner,
Mr. Rudd.
point of order. So are we doing a rebuttal?
She completed.
So she, as the petitioner, wouldn't speak during the public hearing. She would speak in the rebuttal after public hearing.
Which is why I invited her up for the opportunity
Okay,
to rebut.
okay. So I take, yeah. So I don't think it changes whatever anything is done. I just wanted to be clear about that.
Yes, sir.
So I do have a question, though. So you're not proposing to vacate the road shown in the pictures. You're proposing to vacate a road that is currently paved that is not shown in these pictures.
Can you go to the second slide?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So it's kind of light on this screen here. You may be able to see it better.
I apologize, Ms. Sobel, but I need you to stay by the mic so that anybody online can also hear and for our recording. Thank you.
I wish I had a laser pointer. Oh, there we go. Thank you. If you can see here in this hatched area, this is the right-of-way that we're talking about with the diagonal red. Here, outside of that, is where the paved road is and where we're proposing that privatized paved road. So it lines up with that entrance at State Road too.
If I may, Mr. Rudden, I don't want to intervene, but I just have a clarifying question.
Go ahead.
According to Mr. Metters, and looked for you to confirm his statement, is that the pavement that was placed there is to support construction activities, and that pavement is more or less within at least a portion of that existing right-of-way. And because it's within the public right-of-way until it's vacated, it wouldn't just be requested, it would be required for liability purposes for Amazon to remove that paved area, because I'm sure it's not built to county standards for an actual county roadway.
Correct. It's for construction circulation purposes and for safety of vehicles circulating the site for construction.
So any improvements that we see today will not exist at the end of the construction project. It would be something entirely different.
Correct. It would match the designed and engineered road that we're proposing for that private access drive along Huckleberry.
Thank you. Ms. Drake.
Can you explain to me again, and maybe it's better to go back to the bigger map of the whole area? I don't understand. So if you've got a gate there, how is it open to the public?
So they would take State Route 2, and this is when the interchange and the public frontage road is in. So it would navigate traffic to the interchange and down, and if they came across and used the public frontage road, they would then be able to access Huckleberry Road.
So that's the way, there would be no gate there. The gate would be up at State Road 2?
Correct. On the north side of that public road, where that blue line is.
And then if they go down that way, then they realize they don't want to be there and they turn around?
Yeah, there's a cul-de-sac at, along this private road where they would be able to turn around or continue through to Gordon and come out on Strawberry.
Because there'd be nothing else for them to access, right?
Right. And same thing from the south side, Strawberry over to Gordon.
Mr. Thomas.
Sorry, but it's gated, right? How are they gonna go down there if it's gated?
They would, here, I'll
I
go
mean,
back to the,
Remember the blues at, I know that's where you're gonna have, right, it's gonna be a,
right. So that little blow up is this here. And so when any traffic coming off the interchange is able to come onto the public frontage road, that public frontage road ties into Huckleberry south of that gate.
or south of the gate. Gotcha.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The intent is to restrict access directly from State Road 2.
Right.
Correct.
Any other council comments or questions? Otherwise, we would still entertain a motion. Mr. Catanzarite.
I would just like to say, as somebody who, on my full-time job, I drive a fire truck, and I've been on emergencies on Gordon Road, right there where you're talking about. I would certainly appreciate that cul-de-sac, because it's been difficult to get fire trucks turned around on Gordon, right there at Huckleberry. So that will make our job a lot easier when there are emergencies down there, especially with the added cul-de-sac. So I would be able to support this. I think it's a good use of vacation, and it's going to help, I think, an improvement and make it safer as it's described as how they're going to do this, and especially for public safety, whether you're in a fire truck or an ambulance or a police car, it's going to be a much safer way to traverse that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional council comment or motion?
Motion to pass 4326.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Catanzarite, a second from Councilwoman Hess to pass Bill number 43-26. Clerk, will you please poll the council?
Ms. Hess,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Catanzarite,
Yes.
Mr. Fig,
Yes.
Mrs. Shabazz,
Yes.
Mrs. Drake,
Yes.
Mr. Rutten,
Yes.
President Tanner,
Yes.
passes 8-0.
Please let the record show that Bill number 43-26 passes with a vote of 8-0. Thank you. Moving on to Bill number 44-26. Clerk, will you please read?
An ordinance approving the petition for a special use filed by Daniel Truby Weller for property being located at 62485 Miami Road, Highway Center Township.
And the committee report, please.
Mr. President, Bill 4426 comes to the full council without a recommendation.
Thank you. And staff report.
Hi, Adia Smith, Area Plan Commission staff with offices on the 11th floor. As you remember, this is a special use petition to allow agro-tourism in the R single-family district that will be accessory to the existing agricultural use on the property. The petitioner is seeking to convert an existing barn at the northeast corner of the property into a venue space accessory to, again, their farming operation that is currently in place. There is a single-family home built in the late 1800s and several detached accessory structures built early to mid-1900s, according to the property record card. For context, this parcel is Lot 3 of the Schaefer Miami Highway subdivision, which is approximately 14 acres, containing, the whole subdivision is 14 acres. It contains 1.5 acres for a vegetable farming operation. There will be a retention easement. Phillips Ditch is along the south and west ends of the property. Lastly, there is a 66-foot wide NIPSCO pipeline easement that runs southwest to northeast in the northwest corner of the parcel. This is a zoning map. The nature of this use is not dissimilar in character to the surrounding area. The R single-family district does permit agro-tourism, again, accessory to an agricultural use, requiring a special use approval. And considering the surrounding area consists of the agricultural district, which permits agro-tourism by right, it would be reasonable to consider this parcel also appropriate for agro-tourism. Again, this is the existing dwelling that will remain in place. This is the proposed location for the barn venue. This is the proposed 10-car parking area. The petitioner is proposing small weddings, farm-to-table dinners, and other smaller events. They're aiming to keep the parking lot as small as possible. This is looking south towards Madison Road. This is directly across Miami Highway. And this is looking north towards Roosevelt Road. This is the site plan provided by the petitioner. This parcel is served by on-site well and septic. However, the petitioner proposes a multi-phase renovation for the barn, and after the first phase, the remodeling.
If you don't mind pausing really quick. Jen, is there a way to minimize so that we can see the site plan? Thank you, and I appreciate your patience.
No, I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
So, yeah, a multi-phase renovation for the barn. After the first phase, they are planning to begin hosting events, and there would be portable restrooms utilized until possible second septic system being added. This does come with a 4-3 favorable recommendation from the ABZA. Overall, the proposal seems to fit the area and is responsibly designed. Also, it does align with the future land use map and advances the goals of the comprehensive plan. At the ABZA hearing, 2 people spoke out in remonstrance for the petition. One of these was the property owner living southeast, and their main concern was potential future commercial uses that could disrupt the established residential character in the area. The second was property owner that lives south of the property across Miami Highway, and their main concerns centered around increased traffic, noise, potential impact on property value, and the overall scope of the proposal. Also, I do believe you all received some letters directly to the county council prior to this hearing. And with that, I can take any questions.
Are there any questions for Ms. Smith? I have two questions. Would you mind backing up to the zoning map first? Perfect. The green is residential zoning, correct?
Agriculture.
Agriculture, thank you. Green is agriculture, yellow is residential. This happens to be residential, but it historically had been agriculture, correct?
Yes.
And currently, it's really serving both purposes, residential home and some agricultural use, which, of course, agricultural use is allowable within residential zoning.
Mhm.
If any of those other green highlighted properties, which is agriculture, decided to institute an agritourism business model, they would be able to do so without coming before the council, without coming before the ABZA, et cetera.
Mhm.
Okay. It's interesting to me. And then if you don't mind progressing through to the site plan, is that the proposed parking lot is on the interior in between two, I believe, residential structures? Or between a barn and a residential structure, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then the green highlighted area, I think I see where it says that's a vegetable farm. There's no event activity proposed through there. Does the petition as presented or as sent to us from ABZA, are there any written commitments?
Not at this time, but you are able to impose some. The property owners are aware of that.
Okay. Because I believe the parking lot is proposed for 10 spaces. Okay. Just for what it's worth, I may come back to that with the petitioner. Are there any other questions for, yes, Mr. Rutten?
Yeah, so I might be asking the parking question that you were thinking of. So for this kind of a use, does zoning allow for 10 parking spots? They're paved, right?
So all of that will go through the commercial plan review process and potentially need other permits and variances or things. But we do, for the agritourism, it is paved. I don't think there's a specified number of spaces. Yeah, it's not a specified number of spaces, but it would have to be paved along with other development standards for agritourism.
Okay, so I know that the zoning does specify minimum number of parking spots, perhaps for other types of developments. And so what I'm hearing is you're saying for this type, there's not a minimum requirement for parking spots.
No, that's not specified in the agritourism. It's just about the pavement type.
Okay, okay.
About the what?
The pavement or hard surfaces.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay. And then I did have another question. So given that this is residential zoning, we just had a petition not too long ago discussing a home business. Would this agritourism type thing, could that be allowed under a home business type exception within the zoning ordinance?
I mean, it is one of the permitted, under home-based businesses, one of the permitted uses for agriculture or farming, right? However, with it being semi-commercial related for profit, I think that's what the big difference is.
Yeah, so home-based business is a permitted special use in the A agricultural district. As far as the R single-family district, there's just home occupations, which is a more limited list. Home-based business really kind of predates agritourism section of the ordinance, and it is kind of more broad. And I guess the difference being that agritourism is permitted by right in A, whereas home-based businesses do require a special use.
This is residential zoning?
In residential, home-based businesses are not an available special use.
Okay, I just wanted to just bring that up. I don't recall the details of that, so
Yeah,
thank you for elaborating on that.
Overlap
Yep.
there, yeah.
Any other questions for staff? No? Thank you very much, Adia. And I believe, is the petitioner available? And as you approach, just a reminder to state your name and address for the record.
Have to move this up a little bit. Dan and Emily Trubueller at 62485 Miami Road, South Bend, Indiana. We are homeowners and business owners of Barn Swallow Farm. Thanks for hearing us today, council members. We operate a family farm producing a variety of vegetables. Kind of imagine what you see when you go to a farmer's market. We've also planted fruit trees and berries and other perennial fruits and vegetables on our property. We've been growing and selling since 2020, and we grow year-round with the use of unheated high tunnels is the technical term. You can kind of see those structures on the picture. For the past 6 years, we've sold to a variety of avenues around the county, whether small farmers markets or more recently the farm stand that we have on the property. We've hired a variety of full and part-time employees, and I love doing this work and operating the farm because I'm able to grow food and feed the community, both around the county and immediately close to our home and farm. So we're proposing in the future to host small events and utilize an existing historic barn. We are looking to have add a small but important revenue stream to keep the farm economically sustainable. We want to keep providing into the future local, nutritious food and continue to hire more employees and protect prime farmland from further development. Our immediate neighbors to the north and south who bound our property have expressed in letters to the council no problems and are in full support of what we're doing. We have a great relationship with them on a regular basis. And I will just quickly read short quotes, which are not in front of us right now, but you have received their emails.
So we're aware that there is a large petition circling voicing opposition to this special use request. Unfortunately, the information on the petition is not completely accurate, and people have signed based on false information and in opposition to things that we don't actually plan to do on our property. We've tried to avoid that confusion from the start. Before applying, we tried to meet with all immediate neighbors, and since the process began, we've continued talking with neighbors and have also tried to reach out to anyone we know who has expressed concerns. We provided them with our contact info to speak with us about any issues now or in the future, and they have not taken us up on the opportunity to speak with us. That might have given us the chance to clear up some of these misconceptions. The petition in opposition gives the impression that we are trying to create a large commercial wedding venue. Now, I'm a pastor. I've served churches in South Bend and in Elkhart, and I've done weddings at those kind of venues. I can tell you that we have absolutely no interest in running a commercial wedding venue. One difference between those sort of renovated luxury barn weddings and us is that for them, the venue is the business. They're not working farms where people live and work. We don't have time, staff, resources, or the interest to run an operation like that. We also have no desire to do any of this at the inconvenience of immediate or distant neighbors. We're not the kind of people who would try to make money at our neighbors' expense. And we're also not the kind of people who are going to say one thing now and turn around and do something else later. Our plans already take into account the concerns of our neighbors. They are concerned that our agritourism events will be large and disruptive. Any events will be small. As you've heard, we are applying only to include a 10-car parking lot and do not plan to expand it. A 10-car lot can only support so many visitors, and 10 cars will not have an impact on the already busy traffic of Miami Road. Our events will not be late at night. All will end by 9 p.m., and a majority will be better suited for daytime anyway. We live on the property with our 3 young kids, and trust me, we value our sleep and our peace greatly. Our events will not include highly amplified music, as some wedding venues would. Our events will not be frequent, not every night or even every weekend. We are talking about maybe 2 or 3 events per month during 6 months out of the year. Those in opposition have also stated that our application does not fit the agritourism ordinance for St. Joseph County. In fact, the ordinance is written for just exactly this situation, stating that agritourism presents a unique opportunity to combine aspects of tourism and agriculture to provide a number of financial, educational, and social benefits to tourists, producers, and communities. Agritourism gives producers an opportunity to generate additional income and an avenue for direct marketing to consumers. Farming is and will remain our main business. We grow produce 365 days a year. Any events will be an accessory to the farm business, showcasing produce and flowers grown on the farm when possible, and giving people the chance to gather and celebrate in an agricultural setting. They also state that there are no such similar commercial venues in the surrounding area. So please remember, we are not proposing to have a commercial venue. We are applying for an agritourism special use permit that would be an accessory to our current farming operation. Given that a majority of the land around us is and has always been zoned agricultural, this is in keeping with the land's area's use. Those in opposition also state they are concerned property values will decrease. While I'm not an expert in real estate, research through real estate companies operating both locally and nationally finds that increased agritourism actually raises property values and makes the area more desirable. They're also worried that this permit will go with the property should it be sold to a new owner, and that a new owner could expand upon what we do in a way that adversely impacts the community. We've no plans to ever sell this property at the age of 39. Boy, I sure hope we have a lot more years to get to enjoy it. However, we have stated that we are willing to attach conditions to this special use, such as operating hours. And it's my understanding that if we do that, that will also be passed on to any future owner as well, effectively limiting both current and future use. These plans address many of the stated concerns. Many of the things that are feared are simply beyond our plans and agritourism uses. Those opposed refuse to believe us when we state our plans and have insisted that if someone simply offers us enough money, we'll go back on our word and begin hosting large, noisy events that harm our neighbors. We aren't those kinds of people. Growing things, feeding people, being a part of the community are our priorities, as well as maintaining a safe, peaceful home for our children. Our closest neighbors don't have any concern about this because they actually know us and have spoken with us and have years of evidence to back up their belief that we will continue to be conscientious neighbors and business owners. The signatures on the petition in opposition are based on false information and unfair characterizations of us and our business. We also have a petition for those who support this special use permit. It's been forwarded to all of you County Council members. It has 124 signatures, which I believe is less than those on the petition in opposition. But each of those 124 signatures is from a neighbor, customer, colleague, or friend, from someone who actually knows us, our business, and our future plans, and who knows that we are good, courteous neighbors who have not and would not make decisions at the expense of our community. And let me just say, whether this special use permit passes or not, those 124 signatures and all the letters sent to you all on our behalf, they mean the world to us to have our community support that way. We've no hard feelings for our neighbors who started and signed the petition in opposition. We understand that they're afraid of things changing in their neck of the woods. While I can't say there will be no change, the change will primarily be for our barn, our business, and our family. The change will be for those who choose to visit our property or buy our produce. Because of the scale we're talking about and the deep regard we have for our neighbors, it is not a change that is going to impact them negatively. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the petitioners? Mrs. Drake.
So your events are weddings. That's one of the kinds of events you're talking about having, right? But that would be a very small wedding if you have 10 parking spots.
Correct, small weddings.
What other events are you thinking about?
We have a couple of local caterers that work with us currently and buy our produce for their businesses, and so we think it'd be fun to have a farm-to-table dinner with some of those caterers, getting to showcase their food for customers. It would also be available for things like, think a graduation party, retirement party, a family reunion where 25 family members want to get together and have a meal, that sort of thing.
Any other questions for the petitioner? Mr. Thomas?
So the 10 parking spots, how are you going to handle that? So here comes, you got 10 parking spots, then here comes Uncle Bob, and Aunt Sheila, then you're to 12, and you know what I'm going at.
Sure.
How are you to control that? All of a
You
sudden
mean
you have
how do
20,
we-
you have 20 cars there, and you have 10 spots.
We won't have 20 cars there. If we have a 10-car lot, we will have 10 cars. I think we can be really clear with people if they are reserving our space and put it in the paperwork, put it in the contract. You all may not bring more than 10 cars to this event. That's all that our parking allows. I think being really clear as business owners with the people who are utilizing our business up front will really help avoid that kind of miscommunication.
I don't know if this question's for you or not. Can you put that in written commitments?
I would.
I mean,
if we
you
can.
would be okay putting that in written commitments?
Yes.
If I could formalize that just a bit more, we'll have to make a motion on it and take the proper actions, but I would recommend, because this change does carry, the special
Yes.
use would carry with a transfer of ownership, even if it's 50 years from now, even if it's 30 or 80 years from now. I do think that because it suits your needs down in the future, and because it's a concern of your neighbors, maybe not the immediate neighbors, but those around, that adding a written commitment for a limit of 10 spaces, including ADA compliance and van accessibility. We probably won't include that language because that's for the commercial application and the engineering team to actually go through that process. But limiting it to 10 spaces and limiting it to operating hours of 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. sounds like it would be appropriate. Again, that would have to go through a formal motion process and to get a approved vote for those written commitments. But would those be acceptable to you?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then those would carry along with the special use?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions for the petitioner?
I just want to make a statement. I've been to agricultural events, and another way to say that would be a party at the farmhouse, right? And I spent a lot of time as a kid at a agricultural area, and when they throw parties, a lot of people could show up, okay? And you could do this already, right? You could have a graduation party and you could have 50 cars show up, right? And I see, I see some lawn south of the proposed parking lot. I mean, you could cram a few dozen more cars in that area. I mean, it's just, if the event's popular and people show up, then it's like, what do? People are showing up.
We turn them away because we care about our neighbors. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're sincere on that. It's just hard when we vote here, how to regulate that, how to be certain of that. And so you could change your mind and we wouldn't know, right? And the neighbors might not even know, right? I mean, it might just happen quickly for a few hours or, and then it was brought up as a concern with the petition that if you sold the property and a future owner, I think it's assumed a special use would transfer over and they would have to use it the same way as it's currently being used, but then they forget this promise, right? And so this is one of the difficulties of seeking a special use is it does change the use of the area and it's hard to regulate that, right? It can be very hard to regulate that. And we get situations all the time where the regulation was difficult. So I just wanted to make that comment to you, that kind of maybe is a little where your neighbors are coming from with the
Sure, and-
concern on this.
With all due respect, Mr. Rutten, I think we just heard an idea from Mr. Tanner about how we could actually enforce that.
Yes.
Well, this might actually give an avenue for neighbors, since it won't be, if they are for the business, we now have written commitments for the special use that neighbors would have to bring to report.
Right.
Right now, you're right, we could have, or anyone in any place that can fit that amount of cars within zoning regulation can have large parties if it's for private use.
Yes.
But now this will be written for the public use too, if there's an issue. So.
Okay.
Any other questions for the petitioners? Seeing none, thank you very much. We will open it up to public hearing on bill number 44-26. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Alan Holdreed, 107 East Center Street, North Liberty. I'm a resident of Councilmember Figg's district, which also happens to hold the property in question. As a customer of the farm, I've had nothing but positive experiences with their operations. I believe that the addition of small events to the operations will be a benefit to the community and not cause harm to neighbors. While some area farms are being converted to data centers, solar generation, or single-family residential, this is an opportunity for a family farm to stay viable in the 21st century. Successful small businesses like Barnswallow Farm provide tax revenue, employ our residents, and provide vital fresh food. Selling vegetables is great, but a difficult business on its own. I have grown vegetables as a teenager and tried to sell them. There's not millions of dollars to be made. Diversifying their offerings will help them to continue to farm, which is their main goal. Restoring the Schaefer Dairy Bank Barn, which is one of the largest wood barns left in the county to hold small events, would increase everyone's property values. I hope you'll find that increasing agritourism in the area will be a benefit to everyone and keep Indiana's tradition of small family farms and small family businesses thriving.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Seeing none, anyone online who would like to speak in favor of this bill?
I would like to.
All right, if you don't mind stating your name and address for the record.
My name is Linda Raven, and I live at 911 California Avenue in South Bend.
Please proceed.
This is kind of a character reference for Emily and Dan. But first, I'd just like to state that my brother, John Raven, used to own a farm very close to where Barnswallow Farm is. His farm was off of South Ironwood near Layton Road. And so I'm very familiar with the area and how beautiful and peaceful it is. And I can understand the concerns that the neighbors have. But I probably know Emily Truby Weller longer than anybody at this meeting. She was a student of mine when I was teaching a study abroad program in Namibia. She studied abroad in Namibia in 2008 as a student at Valparaiso. In 2021, I was thrilled and shocked when I met Emily in South Bend and got to meet Dan and find out that they had relocated to South Bend to start farming. I was thrilled to have a place to buy fresh local vegetables because I'm a huge fan of fresh local vegetables and I love their vegetables, and I've been a member of their CSA and have bought vegetables from them since they relocated here. But I was also excited about what they could bring to this community because they are passionate, energetic people who believe in taking care of community. Dan had been working in software in New York and earning a good salary there, but they chose to come here because they wanted to farm because that's their dream. Emily continues to work in her passion of being a Lutheran pastor, where she has the opportunity to support and inspire people. People love to visit South Bend because of the unique opportunities we have here above other Midwestern towns. Things like the East Race and Notre Dame, our revitalized downtown and museums that differentiate us from other Midwestern towns. A unique venue like this would continue to differentiate us with farm-to-table dinners and rustic small weddings. And I just want to really emphasize that Dan and Emily are motivated by making the world a better place, building community, and helping the environment, as demonstrated by Emily's decision to study abroad in Namibia, of all places. Not that many students choose that. Their decision to leave high-income jobs in New York to come here to run a small farm. Their continued commitment to local, environmentally friendly farming, and Emily's spiritual vocation. They are not the type of people who would change their position when large sums of money are offered. If larger sums of money motivated them, they could have stayed in New York. They are motivated by working together with others, building relationships, and building a strong community. I fully support their request for a zoning variance to allow agritourism on their property.
Thank you. Is there anyone else online who'd like to speak in favor of this bill? Seeing none, is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Denise Crowell, and I'm the property owner of 62621 Miami Road for the last 10 years. My property, designated as Lot 5 of the Schaefer's Miami Highway subdivision, number 3419, is to the south of the Barn Swallow Farm, which is designated as Lot number 3 of the same 6-parcel subdivision. A little confused about what I heard earlier and wanted to clarify that my property is 12.9 acres alone, and there are 6 separate properties in this subdivision. I speak tonight in opposition to the petitioner's request for a special use permit to conduct a barn venue operation for the following reasons. Concern number 1 is that there are existing covenants in place with this subdivision. The Barn Swallow Farm property is lot number 3 of 6 lots incorporated into the Schaefer's subdivision number 3419, and designated as the original homestead of the original Schaefer farm. Given that there are covenants that were established by the developer, Constance Schaefer, and recorded on 10/28/2005 with the St. Joe County Recorder's Office that restrict a number of issues surrounding this petition that seem to be bypassed in their request, in which they are subject to specifically setbacks, number of buildings, including any detached, driveways and parking pads, prohibited temporary structures, which I'm sure porta potties would fall under, and business use restrictions. The covenants in reference to lot number 3 and its barn, which is the original homestead site, state that in the event of destruction of the barn or other outbuilding by fire or other calamity, the barn or other outbuilding may be rebuilt on Lot 3 and may continue to be used for appropriate business purposes such as storage of hay, grain, or farming equipment. There is no reference to any commercial entities such as an event venue listed. And I just want to comment too on her point about raising property values being a good thing. Just want to make sure everybody knows that that also leads to increased property taxes. I highly recommend to the petitioners that they pull out their copy and read on to such items such as building restrictions, easements, signage, nuisances, setbacks, driveways, and that there is an architectural control committee, especially section number 23 on the enforcement of these covenants. The petitioners seem to be operating independently and outside of the covenant rules that they agreed to when purchasing their property. Concern number 2, proximity to the road. I don't know if we can pull those photos up again, but I encourage everyone to take a really close look at how close that barn is to the highway.
Ma'am, I hate to stop you, but your 3 minutes have expired.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for the
I got
information.
more. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Please. And if there's anybody else, feel free to line up. And actually, I forgot to ask, everybody who has spoken also sign in to the clipboard that Adia happens to be standing next to. Thank you very much, and please go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Emma Kovach of 26371 Traders Post Lane in South Bend. I grew up on Miami Road, 0.2 miles from Barn Swallow Farm. I am strongly against this property rezoning for agritourism. This venue, which is located in a residential zone, will affect the neighbors' lives surrounding the farm negatively. I am familiar with how disruptive a venue can be. I currently live exactly 1.4 miles from a very small venue for events and hear the music while inside my house. I am further away from the venue than in my current home than most of the neighbors to Barn Swallow Farm. I live in the country for quiet. My home is my sanctuary that becomes invaded by music from strangers that disrupts our household. This home's potential venue is 0.2 miles from the house I grew up in. My experience with small venues alone should serve as a warning to those who have supported this. I live 7 times the distance from most of Barn Swallow Farm's neighbors and have my weekends disrupted by noise. The owners want to host small weddings, but correct anyone calling it a wedding venue. If it hosts a wedding, it is a wedding venue. It feels as if they are telling everyone what they want to hear and not what they are actually planning. The owners keep saying 10 cars only. That wouldn't be enough room to allow for a bridal or baby shower. My bridal shower wouldn't even fit there. My wedding party couldn't attend there. Who would want to spend a small fortune on a wedding venue or a venue that is so limited? Their house and barn are very close to the road. Miami Road has speeds that go in excess of 55 miles per hour. Events there could lead to impaired drivers or distracted drivers passing by trying to see what is going on. I once came upon a fatal accident right in front of their property. It is possible this could happen again with an event and crowd so close to a highway. Barn Swallow Farms is pushing this through with zero regard to their neighbors' feelings, concerns, and property value. The owners of this home are impacting the lives and property of the neighbors for their own financial gains. The community, meaning their neighbors, not their customers, has spoken against this. I implore you as council members to listen to them. I lived on the south side for almost 30 years, and it is well known for being a sleepy, quiet side of town. I grew up with my siblings and our many farm animals and could not sit idly by while this serenity gets wrecked for $1. I strongly encourage you to vote against this rezoning. This is easy for you as council members to say yes, but it does not affect your home life in any way. Think of a venue playing music when you're trying to settle in for the night, or traffic blocking your only route home. The majority of the neighborhood has spoken out against this. The council should be siding with the majority, not one person who is financially benefiting at the suffering of their neighbor's peace and property value. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in opposition to this bill in the room? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Name is David Frick, F-R-I-C-K, 62919 Turkey Trail. I'm the 5th generation to live on this property and to own this property. My family's been there since 1854, and they've stayed there because it's been quiet and peaceful. There's been no commercialization, which is what this is leading to. If you Google the word, I keep agritourism, if you Google that, the second word in the definition is commercial. This is where this is all headed. They want to sell fruits and vegetables, that's fine. They've sold honey over the past, that's fine. Now they want to hold venues. To hold a venue, you have to have a commercial license. Now, once you approve this for one person, and you showed on your diagram the green areas of the connecting properties, now here we go, right down the road, there'll be no stopping it. None. You people are to take care and support the good of the community, not the good of the individual. Thank you.
Anyone else in the room who'd like to speak in opposition?
My name is Jerry Klein. I live at 62600 Turkey Trail, just about a half a mile behind this property we're talking about. I've lived there 82 years. That farmhouse and barn was a large farm at one time. When the owner died, it went to subdivision of 20-acre plots to sell off. It was a farm at one time. Now this 14-acre plot is not a farm. It's untillable except about 1 acre for their garden. If you go past there, it's untillable to the back of the farm. You got a large bank barn right against the road. You got a two-story house. You got other buildings. That's not leaving any farm ground. This is just a smoke screen for get the permit to have wedding venues in that barn. I doubt if any of you live by a barn that has that. If this is passed and they open the barn doors to the front and to the back, you've got 12-foot openings, barn doors, it's 20 foot wide, 15, 20 feet wide, front and back. You got a DJ that turns the volume up so loud that it'll break the eardrums of me a half a mile away, and they can't control that. 10 spot parking? I don't think so. Like the man on I'm sorry, didn't catch your name at the end, said, you can't control 10 cars. The rest, where's the overflow? Here comes Aunt Tilda and all the other cousins. Where are they going to park? Oh, just park back here behind the house. There's plenty of ground to park cars on. You can have 50 cars. If you ever went to a wedding reception that stopped at 9 o'clock? I never have. If you ever went to a wedding reception of only 10 cars? Absolutely not. That's a smoke screen. If this is passed and you pass that, that's uncontrolled, you won't know. Only us neighbors will know what's going on. And talk about false information. They said a lot. They never contacted me. I don't live within 660 feet of their property, but I'm about a half a mile away. And I hope you do the right thing and vote against this. Thank you.
Anyone else in the room who'd like to speak in opposition?
I'm Cheryl Vargo. I live at 62646 Miami Road. I have 28 signatures from immediate neighbors and 152 signatures from past and present community members who are opposing this permit. Agritourism must be accessory to agricultural use. The working farm income must be greater than any other monies secured by the owners. Barn Swallow Farm outsources some of its goods which cannot qualify as working farm income. In addition, both petitioners have employment unrelated to agriculture, again, not qualifying as working farm income. This is a 1.5 acre garden. The proposed venue, combined with the petitioner's incomes, cannot exceed the garden revenue. What proof do we have that the garden is and will remain the primary source of income? If it is not the primary source of income, the venue could not be considered accessory to the farm, thus failing to meet the criteria for agritourism. People chose to live in this area for a quiet lifestyle, yet we are being expected to forfeit that and contend with disruption in our lives for the financial gain of one property owner. The plan for a 10-car parking lot implies that there will be very few guests. It doesn't make sense to renovate a 5,000 square foot barn, or even a portion of it, to install a parking lot and a septic system for events that small. I assumed there would be more than 10 cars and asked the petitioner where the overflow would go. She stated that they were looking into options, which tells me they do anticipate more than 10 cars. And who would enforce this 10-car only? That's the big question. It was originally stated that events were anticipated maybe 2 times a month in a peak season, but at the next meeting it came up as 2 to 3 per month from April through October. I'm skeptical that events will remain small, as their stated goal is to make money. I have concerns that there may be future zoning requests to accommodate larger events in order to offset the huge renovation expense. Of note, there will be no hard alcohol, but beer and wine also cause impairment. Music travels up to 2 miles, impacting a broad area. This area was once zoned agricultural, but has been residential since the farm was subdivided, which the petitioners knew when purchasing the property. Rezoning this opens this up for others to do the same. This is not in the middle of a scenic field. It is very close to the road in a residential area. Neighbors are being asked to trust that there will be no impact. I don't want to risk it, as there will be no going back. Although zoned residential, if approved, we will have a commercial venue under the guise of agritourism on a busy, high-speed, 2-lane highway. If sold, the venue does go with the new owners, so it could forever impact the area's tranquility, property values, property marketability, and road safety. The few neighbors in favor of this should not carry more weight than the majority opposed. Petitioners will be paid for any inconvenience to the detriment of their neighbors. Despite the strong opposition, if approved, I would hope a written commitment will be imposed for capacity, number of events, hours of operation, an expiration date, and something in place to ensure adherence. I urge you to vote no to this petition. Thank you.
Thank you, and very well timed, may I say. Anybody else in the room who would like to speak in opposition? Seeing none, anyone online who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Seeing none, we will now close the public hearing on bill number 44-26. Petitioners, you have a right to rebut.
I think maybe there could be support from those in zoning, but as far as agri-tourism goes, there's no speaking to the size, like the amount of income that it needs to be compared to the farm. It just needs to be in support of the agricultural business, which is what we stated, that this helps diversify and bring economic stability to allow us to continue to expand and farm and grow for our community. And I'd say, and two, again, with, as we said, we'd be happy to sign something committing us to a 10-car parking lot. To an extent, you know, that's, enforcement of that is we do our best, and there will be mechanisms for those to bring that up where there isn't today. And so that's actually more avenues for you in the future to be able to restrict the size of events at the farm. Do you want to say anything?
Good job.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the council before we take a motion? Mr. Fig, I see you leaning forward.
You
There-
know me, don't
Yeah.
you? Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, this is my district, and I appreciate you inviting me out to your place. I did go out and see this. And I also appreciate the petitions. It means a lot to me looking at signed signatures here from people that live in that area against this. This is huge, because whenever you have a change, I need to know what the neighbors think. I really do. And when you sign a petition, that's pretty strong here against this. I did not realize till tonight that was, well, I knew it was ag for all these years, but I didn't know that was changed in the 80s to residential, to all those. I did not know that till tonight, and that's on me for not learning that, but I appreciate that bringing out. Also, another comment I want to make is this went to area plan, it was 4-3 in favor of this. That's close. If this was 6-0 or 5-1, whatever it is, one vote would have switched this. We wouldn't be hearing this tonight here. So this weighs a lot on me. There's been talk about, some restrictions or commitment. I'm not ready to vote for any of that stuff tonight. I think that needs to be before, like, goes back to area plan, and they work on these things, not this board. So with that in mind, I'm going to be voting against this tonight.
Any other
Thank you.
comments or questions? You're welcome.
I have a comment.
Mrs. Shabazz.
I just think back to the times we've sat here for hours and hours, talking about large-scale uses, and a lot of questions always about economic development that are brought up frequently. And I'm in favor of a small business. I think that you have put a lot of thought into it, and so for that, I will be voting yes.
Any questions or comments from the council? I have a couple follow-up based on what commentary has happened, and I apologize. I may also bring Adia back up for some clarification too. First, though, you said a term that was new to me. High tunnels? Are those like hoop houses?
Correct, yeah, unheated hoops with plastic over it, correct.
Okay, all right. That's just a quick clarification for me. It was stated by one of the remonstrators that there are deed restrictions and covenants to this property. Are you aware of those? Can you confirm the accuracy of those?
I cannot. That is news to us at this time.
We purchased the property in 2019, and that was not handed or communicated to us by the sellers.
And with that, we know, the other restriction with the gas line and
Yes,
the ditch were successfully.
So the easements, but not
Correct.
necessarily the
Correct.
covenants as described tonight.
Correct.
And then a follow-up to that for Adia, to the best of your ability, is something like a deed restriction or covenant as described tonight, something that is typically reviewed during this petition process?
So for us with zoning, that's kind of a separate, any covenants, those are a separate, let's say entity, for lack of a better word, but they're separated. We kind of run parallel, but we don't enforce them or review them. You can bring to us that you have a covenant, and we can look at it and see how it relates to the zoning ordinance, but that is a separate thing.
And so would that be something that the plat committee would be involved with for the county? Or I see Mr. Klein is stepping forward to maybe add some extra color to this question.
It's really an entirely separate system of law, if you will. Covenants are private contracts. No sort of approval or disapproval would have any bearing on whether those covenants could be enforced by the HOA or the residents of the subdivision in this case.
So a failure to adhere to the covenants could result in some legal action or civil action by other members of that subdivision. This isn't a subdivision in the sense that we often think of them with cul-de-sacs and whatnot, but it's still a subdivided plat that once was a whole parcel.
Correct,
And
correct.
covenants can be established within that subdivision
Exactly.
process.
It's not often that I see restrictive covenants for a 7-lot or 6-lot subdivision, but that's where we are.
So to that end, assuming there was approval tonight, with or without some additional written commitments, if any of these improvements were to proceed as described, it would still have to go through a review. Would those covenants or deed restrictions be evaluated at that time even?
Yes, absolutely.
So even with an approval tonight, if there are some conflicts there, then a denial could take place during an administrative process.
Correct.
Okay. Or potentially a change of heart by the petitioners, understanding that this may be a restriction.
That's sort of more how it would play out. I would inform the petitioners that they'd be running afoul of the restrictive covenants, and then they could make their decision from there and consult the HOA, of course. Do you have an HOA? Okay. That doesn't help.
Okay. I don't know if maybe that prompted some additional questions from others. Please, Mrs. Drake.
So you could go over that with them, but whatever, let's just say that the covenant said they couldn't do any of this stuff. All you could do is tell them that. I mean, that you cannot enforce that.
Correct. They would open themselves up for a lawsuit with the residents of the subdivision, but yes, I cannot enforce the
Right.
covenants.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions? Mr. Thomas.
What you do now, I think is really neat. My wife's probably stopped by and bought stuff from you and everything. I mean, I think it's commendable. I appreciate your email. And there's a lot of different, when we have these zoning issues, it's just every zoning issue like this, special use is different. And we've heard a lot from a lot of the neighbors, of course from you. This obviously isn't personal, but I agree with what Mr. Figg said. I think you've done a good job, but it means a lot to me too with what's been said tonight. And there seems like there's a lot of things that are unanswered. And maybe not to you, but to me, covenants, agritourism, definition of that. Are you going to enforce the parking? There's just a lot to it. And for many of those reasons, I'm probably going to be a no. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from council members?
Yeah.
Mr. Rutten.
So a lot was said here, so I wanted to, I'm looking at the county code right now. So looking at the section for agritourism, and I just had it, and then I scrolled right off it, but it says, so you must be on a paved road, driveways have to be paved for the first 50 feet. It doesn't, the parking area doesn't require to be paved, which I thought was kind of interesting. But it does require acceleration and deceleration lanes and passing blisters, which would be an expansion of the, I think, the adjacent roadway. So do those already exist?
I could be wrong, but I believe that says at the county engineer's discretion as to whether they're required.
You know, I don't see that part. It might be, that's the problem with reading this code. Is
Yeah.
you really have to read it, you know, top to bottom to fully take it all in. So
Unfortunately. I believe that to be the case, which again would be something that would be reviewed during the commercial plan review process to, for Sky to tell us if that he believes that to be necessary, given the amount of traffic that would likely be generated.
Okay, yeah, here's the section, off-street parking are not required to be paved, but must otherwise meet requirements in another section of the code. I am concerned about the covenants concern, and covenants are a private agreement. So this county may get involved, may disclose some of that information, but it's really not the responsibility of the county to get involved with that. That would be a private action. So hearing concern from other property owners that there are private restrictions involved, I mean, it's something that I think we do need to consider here in making a decision, even if the county doesn't get involved with enforcing that at all. So thank you. Those are my comments.
Anyone else? Okay. I am going to start out by making a motion. We'll see how it goes. A motion to add two written commitments for a maximum number of 10 parking spaces and to limit operating hours to 9 a.m., from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. There's a motion for those two written commitments to be added to this special use
I'll
petition.
second your motion.
We have a motion by myself, seconded by Councilman Catanzarite. Is there any further council discussion on that motion? Seeing none, clerk, will you please poll the council?
Mr. Thomas,
No.
Mr. Catanzarite,
Yes.
Mr. Fig,
No.
Mrs. Shabazz,
Yes.
yes. Mrs. Drake,
No.
no. Mr. Rutten,
No.
Ms. Hess,
Yes.
yes. And Mr. Tanner,
Yes.
yes. 1, 2, 3.
With a vote of 4 to
Tie,
4,
tie.
the motion fails for a lack of a majority. We'll open it up to any other motions.
Mr. Tanner, I make a motion to pass Bill 4426.
Second.
We have a motion to pass by Councilman Catanzarite, seconded by Councilwoman Shabazz. Any further council discussion? Seeing none, clerk, will you please poll the council?
Mr. Catanzarite,
Yes.
that was yes.
Yes.
Mr. Fig,
No.
Mrs. Shabazz,
Yes.
Mrs. Drake,
No.
no. Mr. Rutten,
No.
no. Ms. Hess,
Yes.
yes. Mr. Thomas?
No.
President Tanner?
Yes.
Yes. That was tied.
So at a tie of 4 to 4, that motion also fails for a lack of a majority, unless our council attorney states that that's the end of our actions.
Vote for passage or denial of a proposed ordinance or resolution ends in a tie. The ordinance or resolution shall return to committee.
Point of order, wouldn't there be a motion to reconsider? Wouldn't you have to do that first?
Not according to that rule. It says shall.
That's going to be somewhat problematic because per state law, this is your last opportunity to take an action on this without it automatically
Due
going
to the
into
time
effect.
constraints?
Yes.
So returning to committee is a procedural methodology of the county council, as stated by Mr. Zalis. However, from a legal Indiana statute standpoint, that would run afoul of the time constraints from the ABZA
Correct.
decision. And I think that's partly because this was continued or held?
No.
Just the timing of month to month?
The way that we've alternated committee and public hearing, it really only gives you one opportunity now because it's only 60 days. So it's unfortunate, but.
Okay. So just to clear all potential options, Councilwoman Drake, a motion to reconsider, would you please define that?
I'm going to read what I found. It says, yes, a motion can be sent back to committee after a tie vote, but the assembly must first deal with the failed vote by moving to reconsider it. Because a tie vote means the main motion was defeated, the floor is technically clear and no direct motion to commit can be made until that negative result is undone. And Clint, I sent this to your cell phone.
And are you reading from Robert's rules?
It says, this is Robert's rules, yeah.
And if we have rules that are contrary to Robert's rules, those are the rules that we utilize, and we have rules that are contrary to the rules, so we wouldn't be utilizing it. That'd be my take on it. I haven't read it, but.
That is my understanding as well. Our council rules dictate that Robert's Rules of Order only are referenced when we do not have established rules on a given process. However, we do have the ability within the council to suspend council rules. So just to exhaust all of those options, we could suspend council rules. It would require a unanimous vote to consider or to reconsider, rather. Is there a motion to suspend council rules to reconsider?
Can we explain this more so we know what we're voting on?
So we failed to achieve a majority on the motion to approve. Our council rules identify that the next mechanism is for that to return to committee. We can adhere to that as our council rules dictate, or we can vote to suspend council rules by way of knowing that there is a time restriction for the council to act. And under our council rules, we can suspend those council rules in an effort to reconsider and take up another motion and vote on this issue.
So if we reconsider, if we take a motion to reconsider, we can still vote no
Yes.
on the actual issue. The vote to reconsider allows us to vote no again.
The vote to reconsider allows a different motion to be made. So there was a motion in favor. If we were to suspend council rules to allow another round of voting under reconsideration, it would open it up for a motion to vote against, I suppose. I don't know that the outcome will change, or if there's a different motion that could be made, but ultimately, that is the limit of our options at this point. We either accept the action that's taken and the council rules dictating that it returns to committee, or we unanimously support a suspension of council rules to reconsider and entertain a different motion.
Otherwise, it's, right, the way it stands now, if it's sent back to committee, basically it goes through because of the vote of area plan prior, correct?
ABZA voted 4-3. So I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, either Mr. Klein or Mr. Zalis, that the ABZA recommendation takes the weight of that, failing the council's action.
That's correct.
Okay, well, I will make a motion to reconsider.
You first have
Or what do I
to
have to do
motion
first?
yeah, I know.
What am I doing first?
A motion to suspend council
Okay,
rules.
motion to suspend the rules.
Stand by. Can I say something?
As a point of order, absolutely,
Point of
sir.
order?
Yeah.
The rules test continues.
This cannot be the first time this has ever happened. Isn't there precedent?
No.
There's no precedent that we've had a tie before on the council, and it's never.
Not under our new council rules.
Although that particular rule, I believe, has been around for some time. I don't believe that that was an
Not
amendment.
under my watch as your council.
Right, okay, but historically speaking, anything statutorily when there's a tie, what do we do?
I would look to Mr.
Yeah.
Catanza, right, and ask him, he's been here longer than me.
We rarely had a tie. Because of our 9-member council and everybody usually being present, we've rarely had a tie. It's been rare. Very,
What's
very
rare?
rare.
Have you had any?
I'd say a handful of times in 27 years, at best. Yeah. But a tie vote, there's no way to settle a tie.
Right.
Unfortunately.
So,
So the matter, the issue is dead at that point. The issue's dead on the tie, but as this has got connections to the ABZA rulings, the ABZA ruling would prevail.
So we're entertaining every available option to us under our rules and any coinciding Robert's Rules of Order where our rules don't detail it. So as an abundance of openness and opportunity, we've entertained a motion to suspend council rules, which would require a unanimous vote to approve. And that suspension of council rules was for the purpose of reconsidering. So the only action that could be taken after a successful suspension of council rules is a motion to reconsider, and the subsequent motion that would follow that for a vote, of whatever that vote may be. It is a 5-step process to resolve the vote that just occurred, but it is out of an abundance of caution and opportunity to have this council actually take meaningful action if we're able to accomplish that, given the 4-4 tie. There is a motion standing on the floor in need of a second to suspend
President
council
Tanner,
rules.
So I'd like to make a comment that's related to deciding on how to do this motion. So the council rules, the new council rules that were, well, the current council rules do state the end of section 14 that a tie vote, an ordinance or a resolution shall return to committee. So that's what our legal advice has been. Now, this is the council rules, which means that it would be subordinate to any county ordinance law or state statute law that would govern how voting needs to proceed on various zoning issues. So I don't have the ability to research all of that right now.
I
So
would state that under the guidance that we've received from Mr. Klein on, I believe you've researched this ahead of time.
If that's helpful.
Yeah, why not? At least the section reference. And while you do that, I would say my understanding is that state statute provides tremendous latitude for the local fiscal and legislative body to dictate its own rules, which we've established, and effectively dictates
As long
how this is
as long as they don't contradict
As
with
long as they do not
with the
conflict.
state law. So the question, we took a vote and it's tied. So the question is there any authority higher than our council rules that dictate that a majority vote is needed in order to approve this special use?
I think Mr. Klein's going to read a code section that states what happens if there is a tie.
It's not directly related to there being a tie, but IC 3674918.6E2. This has to do with the legislative body voting on a special use petition. It states that the legislative body shall vote on the petition within 60 days after the Board of Zoning Appeals makes its recommendations. If the legislative body does not vote to deny the petition, is what it specifically says, within 60 days, the petition is approved.
And by it being a tie vote, as things stand currently,
Unless that is a vote for denial, then
it's either a lack of action or potentially a vote for denial, by my understanding of statute.
Sean, can you repeat the IC number again?
yeah, of course. It's IC 36-2- no, sorry. IC 36-7-4-918.6 E2.
Okay, thank you.
We do still have a standing motion on the floor in need of a second to suspend council rules for reconsideration.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. I would like to say we've had plenty of council discussion, unless there are any others. Clerk, will you please poll the council? And this is on a vote to suspend council rules specifically. Thank you.
Mr. Fig?
Yes.
Mrs. Shabazz?
No.
No. Mrs. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Rutten?
Do I have to decide?
We are polling the council. A vote is necessary.
I'm going to vote no. I think that we took our vote, and whatever happens, happens.
Okay. Ms. Hess?
No.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Catan's right?
Yes. I'm sorry. I retract my vote. It's no.
No?
No.
Okay. President Tanner?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe that's a 4-4, but it needed to be unanimous. That vote had to be unanimous, just for everybody's awareness.
That was 4-4.
That was 4-4, but it was a vote to suspend council rules, which does require unanimous vote. Yeah.
Was it 5-3 or?
4-4. I think both Mr. Rutten and myself flipped from maybe what was expected, perhaps. With that in mind, the vote to suspend council rules for the sake of reconsideration has failed. The 4-4 vote stands. By technicality, it is returned to committee, even if that may result in a moot outcome. I believe that completes our duties as it relates to Bill number 44-26. I suppose that is an opportunity. One would have to be called, and so on. But again, I think we'd have to refer back to dates. And the fact that it's related back to committee means it still requires 2 steps as well. But that is a great clarification, Mr. Dalton. Okay, that said, I believe the vote stands for the record, 4-4 on Bill number 44-26. It fails for lack of a majority. We're moving on to Bill number 39-26. Thanks, everybody, for your patience.
An ordinance amending and supplementing Title 15 Land Usage, Chapter 15 Planning and Zoning of the St. Joseph County Code as amended for the property located at 15362 State Road 23 Highway from R Single Family District to B Business District. Petitioner Merritt Nathan Daniel.
Thank you. And the committee report, please.
Mr. President, Bill 3926 comes to the full council without a recommendation.
Thank you.
Without a recommendation.
And staff report, Mrs. Smith.
Hello again, Adia Smith, Area Plan Commission staff with offices on the 11th floor. We have a request to rezone to B Business District and allow for an office or retail mixed use. This property is currently zoned R Single Family Residential. The abutting parcels are zoned R Single Family, however, the abutting parcel to the east is zoned office buffer and contains a single-family home. On site, there is an existing single-family home and accessory shed. From my site visits, it appears to support residential use. This is looking west towards the intersection of State Road 23 and Filbert Road. Historically, there has been a trend to rezoning along State Road 23 since about 2002. This intersection shows more transitional non-residential uses concentrated in that area. Meanwhile, the more intense uses have been concentrated near the intersection of State Road 23 and Fur Road, resulting in a commercial node. This is looking east towards that intersection. As you know, State Road 23 is a 4-lane road with a center turn lane. It is a high-volume corridor with a mix of business, commercial, and residential developments. This is the preliminary site plan provided by the petitioner. The site plan shows 3 attached office or mixed-use buildings to serve by a private septic and well. The county engineer stated that the development will need to meet county drainage standards. Additionally, the developer will need to work with NDOT on requirements for access onto State Road 23. The county health department stated the property is located within Juday Creek Wellhead Protection Area. Depending on the nature of the businesses or if there are dry wells or retention basins on site, the facility would need to apply for a wellhead protection permit with their office. Staff does note the developer will have to meet all developmental standards for zoning, including type 2 full screening landscaping required along lot lines abutting the residential districts, front yard landscaping along State Road 23, and foundation landscaping for the new building. Also, the site must meet all other zoning ordinance requirements, including related to parking or future signage. This does come to you with a unanimous favorable recommendation from the APC. Overall, the most desirable use here are those that complement the mixture of uses in the corridor and serves the daily needs of the residents in the properties, but would not result in excess noise, lighting, or outdoor activity that could adversely affect existing properties, aligning most with what is permitted in the business district. Also, it does fit the stated goals of the comprehensive plan and future land use map, which shows this area as an overlay area for infill development, and I can take any questions at this time.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Smith? Seeing none, we'll hear from the petitioner. And please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Nathan Flickner, 1402 East Mishawaka Avenue, Whiteman, representing the petitioner. Like Adia said, trying to go with the comprehensive plan, putting more of the businesses up towards, you know, the frontage of State Road 23. Residents are kind of pushing away from the multi-lane highway that goes through there now. There is a existing house on the residence that'll be demolished, and then they're doing 3 offices, and they're just looking at like maybe an attorney's office, investment group or something in there. Nothing too strenuous on the neighborhood there. That's about it. I'm available for any questions.
Are there any questions for the petitioner?
Question.
Mr. Rutten.
So this is a petition to rezone from residential to B business, which is not commercial.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
So
Mr.
tell me,
Thomas?
can you tell us what's going to be in there?
I
Or
don't
is it
think they
just
have
still
any
up-
commitments yet. I just
No.
mentioned it was, you'll see probably like a State Farm insurance company in there or something like that.
Offices?
Yes, it's just offices.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I just have a question for Sean, actually, I guess. But what's the difference between business and commercial?
Level of intensity, basically. Commercial is more higher intensity use, traffic-wise. Business is more, like he's saying, State Farm offices are maybe a mixed retail light use type of intensity. And so that's really the big key difference is the level of intensity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Flickner? Seeing none, thank you, sir. We will now open the public hearing on Bill number 39-26. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Seeing none, is there anyone online who would like to speak in favor of this bill? Seeing none, is there anyone in the room who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Seeing none, anyone online who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? Also seeing none, we will now close the public hearing on Bill number 39-26. Any additional comments from council members? Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion. Mrs. Drake.
I'm still concerned with all the residential over there with another business going in over there. I'm not sure that that will be perceived well by some of the neighbors. So I plan to vote no on this.
Any other comments or questions from council? Adia, I have a follow-up question that pertains to that. This followed standard protocol that residents or property owners, more specifically, within a set number of feet, were properly notified, plus signage.
Yes.
Was any remonstrance received?
No, we didn't receive any at this time, at least.
doesn't always say that nobody's against it, just
Yeah.
nothing had been received. Okay, thank you. Just wanted to clarify. If there are no other comments or questions, then is there a motion?
Motion for passage 3926.
Second.
We have a motion for passage by Councilman Catanzarite, seconded by Councilwoman Shabazz. Clerk, will you please poll the council?
Mrs. Shabazz?
Yes.
Mrs. Drake?
No.
Mr. Rutten?
Yes.
Ms. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Catanzarite?
Yes.
Mr. Fig?
No.
President Tanner?
Yes.
Passes 6-2.
Let the record show that Bill number 39-26 passes the council with a vote of 6-2. That completes our agenda business under land use planning. There is no unfinished business, new business, or old business listed on our agenda, so we move on to privilege of the floor. And we will excuse Mr. Catanzarite, who has an obligation this evening that is not, well, it's not avoidable. We now move on to privilege of the floor. Please listen carefully to the following instructions. The public is invited to address the council on any item not on tonight's agenda. The time limit of 3 minutes shall be enforced for those wishing to speak during privilege of the floor. Before you speak, please sign in and give your name and address for the record. Individuals may speak only once during this section of the agenda. Please use appropriate language and volume when addressing the council. Also, this is an opportunity for members of the community to address the council. Please refrain from directing your remarks to other members of the public who are in attendance tonight. Violations of these instructions could result in the forfeiture of your remaining time. Finally, the council does not ordinarily respond to questions or comments posed during privilege of the floor. I would remind council members, if you choose to respond to comments made by members of the public, they have the right to respond in turn. And with that, we open the floor to members of the public in person.
Thank you, President Tanner. I'm Jamie O'Brien. I live at 15822 Cedar Ridge Court in Granger. Good evening, friends. I'm here this evening to request and propose that the council adopt a short-term moratorium concerning large-scale data centers in St. Joseph County. I propose 2 years. I note that other counties in Indiana have adopted moratoriums and outright bans. The St. Joseph County public, by and large, and many elected officials, are quite skeptical of data centers and issues related to data centers. And I think we need to have time to work this out and see how they shake out. Some of the issues include issues related to utility usage and costs, water usage and disposal, noise, construction traffic, and disruption to residential neighborhoods. Some of these issues and concerns may be more perception than reality, but we really don't know. We're in uncharted territory, and it may well take time to determine that. So at this point, I think that a short moratorium is appropriate to permit everyone to see how the existing data centers complete their construction and function. I will be presenting an additional specific proposal concerning this moratorium in the coming weeks. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all this evening. President Tanner.
Thank you. Anyone else under privilege of the floor? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, and also please ensure you sign in.
David Frick, 62919 Turkey Trail, Center Township. Could any of the members up there clarify for someone like me who is not very learned in the processes, what does it mean going back to committee? If a vote,
This is your time to speak. I think the response is probably more time than the 3 minutes that we have to allow to describe that. Please feel free to use the remainder of your 3 minutes. I'd be happy to talk to you following the meeting. I just don't want to burn up your 3 minutes of time.
I understand that. I'm just, like say, I'm not learned on all this stuff. And when you say because of a vote, something goes back to committee. Okay, so it goes back to committee. and then a committee votes on it again, and then it comes back up in a meeting like this again? And what does it mean, go back to the committee? What committee? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Mike McManus, 51940 Lilac Road. I read a post today on what I thought originally was about scouting. It mentioned eagles, Purple Mountain Majesties, the flag, the 250th anniversary. It was actually quite poetic and inspiring. And it was inspiring to me because it showed some behavioral improvement. The author, the last time I'd seen any public statements relating to the author and their family, it was dropping F-bombs in the lobby of this very building. Luckily, no lady from Alabama caught those and reported to the appropriate agency in Indiana. But then I read the post a little more carefully, and I could only conclude that the post was designed simply to attack people. I saw the part where the quote was, Dems play dirty. I'm a Dem. When I have something to say, I come to you and say it out loud to your face. So I think that was a little inappropriate. Dems go low. And then I was particularly perturbed to see that as a scout, I was in contempt for a 100-year-old American tradition, simply, I guess, because I'm a Democrat. I found that all very ironic, particularly given that 4 years ago, we were at the beginning of a very dirty part of this county's historic election procedures. A woman who gave 30 years of her life, who wasn't even running for office, was dragged through the mud by lies, false declarations made by members of the Board of Commissioners or the county commissioners, false lawsuits filed, false resolutions made, lies, conspiratorial lies. They weren't accidental. There was a timeline. And if you don't believe me, I've got public access records to prove every one of those things. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room who would like to speak under privilege of the floor? Seeing none, anyone online who would like to speak under privilege of the floor? I see no hands. I believe that concludes privilege of the floor, and we are open to adjournment. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.